Stress is hard. It never feels good. It hurts. It's painful. Now, I realize that we all need stress to some degree to push us to that next level, to help us accomplish more than what maybe we've done in the past. But the truth is, for most of us, we experience stress at a level that is higher than what is healthy for us. Hi, I'm Dan Chapman. I'm the founder of Red Remedies, and I want to talk today about stress and what it is, how it affects the body, and I even want to talk about how stress affects each one of us differently because it does. We're unique individuals. So sometimes stress shows up for us as anxiousness or depression or insomnia or maybe a combination of those things. Sometimes our brain just cycles and spins through the same thoughts over and over. And sometimes stress, our solution is to eat. And when we do that, we never choose healthy foods. And we tend to push right past that feeling of satiation and overeat when we do that under stress. So an important topic that we're going to cover for us today. And so what is stress? Let's start with that. Stress, by definition, is the body's reaction to a change that requires a physical, mental, or emotional adjustment or response. Now, that's a lot of words that essentially means a stressor is anything that pushes our body out of balance. Now, when we go through a stress response, during that period, our body releases chemicals and hormones that literally changes the way that our body functions during that stress experience. And we are designed to have a period of rest or recuperation when the stress is over. But that's not how most of us live. We go into a stressful experience, and before it's even up, we go into another stress experience and another one and another one. And sooner or later, our body transitions from short-term or acute stress to chronic stress. There's actually a term for this cost of stress. It's known as the allostatic load, which is defined as the price that your brain and body are going to pay for being forced to respond to these constant stressors. And as this allostatic load builds and we stay in this place of chronic stress, it really starts to take a toll. And so it's actually been proven that the cost of stress, this allostatic load, can create changes in our brain that amplify the feeling of pain. Stress can create anxiety and depression, of course, and PTSD. Stress is actually an equal indicator of heart disease as smoking cigarettes. Stress affects my blood sugar. So when I eat under stress, I don't balance blood sugar well. Stress alone can create inflammation throughout my body. Of course, it disrupts my sleep cycles. Stress actually suppresses immunity. Did you know that under stress, your body naturally downregulates your immune system? It is so important to deal with stress in our lives. And of course, stress diverts energy away from digestion. So even when I eat that healthy food under stress, that food is not good for me. And at the end of the day, stress drains us physically and mentally. And while this is a pretty negative list of things on the screen here, I recognize there's power in knowledge, and we actually have a class of herbs that can protect us from all the negative things on the screen. Those herbs are known as adaptogens. So first of all, an adaptogen is not the name of a single herb. It's actually a small class of elite herbs that are masters at protecting us from stress. And an adaptogen will have three very specific qualities. Number one, that adaptogen is a herb that is non-toxic. And while I will tell you the herbs are safe, they have an incredible safety profile, adaptogens are unique, a very high safety profile, literally non-toxic to anybody that would consume them. Number two, adaptogens produce a non-specific response in the body. And this simply means that an adaptogen has a unique ability to work anywhere in your body that there is a weakness or something wrong. And number three, an adaptogen has a normalizing influence on the body. This means it doesn't matter if your issue is an overactive or an underactive issue, an adaptogen will bring that problem back to balance or center. So where do we start with all of this? If we have stress, and we do, right? We all have stress, whether that's physical and emotional, or certainly we also have toxin stress. There are toxins all over in the world that we live, and those toxins disrupt our body and cause stress as well. We have created a formula called True Energy. We name it this because we know that high levels of stress equals low energy. And so we need to protect your body from the negative effects of all of the stress, the result of which is going to be energy returning back to the body the way that our bodies were designed. And so the foundation of true energy are two special adaptogen herbs, Panax ginseng and rhodiola. While all adaptogens are remarkable at helping to protect us against stress, each adaptogen has something that it's particularly good at. If we look at these adaptogens, Panax, ginseng, and rhodiola, they are experts at helping with energy, strength, stamina, focus, clarity. These are the adaptogens that you're going to use when you wake up early and stay up late, you work hard, you work long, you play hard, you play long. Again, we've got stress all over in our lives like we all do. These are the adaptogens we're going to use to restore high-level, stable energy physically and mentally all day long. This is the foundation of true energy, and we don't stop there. We have nourishing herbs in this formula that also specifically target the adrenals, the thyroid, and the liver. We do this because if any one of these three are not functioning well, you are going to be tired. Now, you're also going to have a list of a couple hundred other potential issues that might happen in your body. So we want to nourish the adrenals, the thyroid, and the liver, resulting again in a properly high-functioning body. So we're going to have wonderful levels of energy all day, every day. Dosing on True Energy is easy. It's 2 capsules a day. My favorite way to use True Energy is first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. I actually put this on my nightstand at night with a glass of water. When I wake up in the morning, I take 2 capsules of True Energy, I drink my water, and I'm done with this product for the day, and it creates that wonderful, high-level, balanced, stimulant-free energy. Now let's talk about how stress shows up differently for each of us. We're going to go through, again, all of those different ways that stress shows up uniquely because, again, we are unique and different individuals. We have 5 specific products that I'm going to go through here. Each one can help support you in your unique stress experience. Let's start with Enjoy. Enjoy is our formula when stress shows up as depressive stress. Now, the goal of Enjoy is to create balance with these neurotransmitters in our brain. Serotonin is that main neurotransmitter, probably the one that you're most familiar with. But the brain is not as simple as, I'm low in serotonin, let's raise those levels, and all of a sudden I'm a healthy, happy brain. We want balance of not just serotonin, but all of those neurotransmitters, and that's what Enjoy is designed to create. The place that we want to start by doing this is with B vitamins. Enjoy specifically uses B12 and folic acid. And rather than going through what each of these B vitamins does for the body, I want you just to understand that B vitamins in general are catalysts. A catalyst is something that starts a chain of reactions that's necessary to create something better than itself. And in the case of B vitamins, they are starting the process to create neurotransmitters. You know, it's much like if you want to make a campfire, you need something to start that fire, right? And that something would be a match. The match is the catalyst for a campfire. That is the role of B vitamins. They are the catalyst for neurotransmitters. And then we use vitamin D. Vitamin D is a foundational vitamin. There are receptor sites throughout the brain. We need those to be satiated and full because vitamin D has a role in the production and synthesis of different neurotransmitters. And then 2 amino acids are used in Enjoy, L-tyrosine and 5-HTP. So if the B vitamins are the match for our campfire, these amino acids are the logs on that campfire. These are our direct precursors to serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, a very effective way to self-regulate the healthy levels of neurotransmitter in our brain. And then with Enjoy, we wrap this formula up with 2 powerful adaptogen herbs, Schizandra and holy basil. And I talked about expertise of adaptogens. So if we look at Schizandra, its expertise is emotional stress. If we look at holy basil, its expertise is emotional strength. When we put these 2 adaptogens together, they have a powerful effect to bring balance to that stressful emotional experience and lift the spirit, lift the mood, so we can feel better again. Dosing on Enjoy is 1 tablet twice daily. Take 1 in the morning, 1 more in the afternoon or the evening. And what you're going to find is it will bring you up as a nice steady lift from this depressive feeling up to a place of health and balance in the brain. Now, that transformation doesn't happen overnight, but you're going to find steady progress every day as you use this formula, as it's creating more balance and more lift in the brain. Now, the partner product to enjoy is At Ease. The end goal of At Ease, interestingly enough, is the same end goal of Enjoy. We want to create balance with those neurotransmitters in our brain, but we have a very different starting point. Here, that stress is showing up as anxiousness, focus, concentration, memory. I can't, calm my brain down. I can't quiet it down. And so we want to provide a sense of calm and clarity and focus loss. That's what At Ease is going to do for us. So where do we start with At Ease? B vitamins again. Now, we use different B vitamins in At Ease than Enjoy because we see different deficiencies in an anxious brain than a depressive brain, but the purpose is the same. This is our catalyst. This is the match to that campfire. And then a couple of different foundational nutrients, starting with magnesium, which is an essential mineral for the production of serotonin, also involved in about 300 different chemical reactions throughout the body. And of course, we need it for our muscles to relax, which is so important under stress. And choline, which is an essential fat for our brain. We need that food, that nourishment or fuel for our brain to function well. At Ease also uses GABA, which helps produce our main calming neurotransmitter. Now, this is the reason that At Ease works so quickly. It's not uncommon for somebody that's really feeling anxious to take a dose of At Ease and within an hour or two start to feel this formula bringing you down, calming your body down. It works quickly and effectively. And then we have 5-HTP here as well. Just like Enjoy, 5-HTP is our direct precursor to serotonin. One of the things that we see that is consistent in both an anxious and a depressive brain is a deficiency in serotonin. 5-HTP is the most effective, healthy, safe way to produce serotonin. And then L-theanine, which is such an interesting and a unique amino acid. It has both the ability to help me relax and at the same time increase my alertness, an excellent amino acid to use under anxious stress. And then we wrap At Ease up with two herbs here also, starting with Bacopa. Bacopa is a brain tonic. Wonderful studies for focus and concentration and memory. One of the things I love most about Bacopa is it also helps us with some of the physical issues that we feel with anxiousness, where maybe our heart is racing or the blood pressure might be up a little bit. We might feel like we can't breathe because our muscles are tight and tense. Bacopa helps to wash away that emotional stress so we can breathe, right? The blood pressure quiets down, the heart stops racing, I can breathe again. And then Schizandra. Schizandra is that adaptogen. Again, we use this one in Enjoy as well. That's for emotional stress. The perfect adaptogen to round out our At Ease formula. Dosing on At Ease is 1 to 2 tablets twice a day. So again, use this in the morning, use it in the afternoon or the evening. If you're using it for the first time, I encourage you to start with that higher dose. Let's get you feeling better. And then once you're feeling better, we're more stable. We've got some good positive energy, which, by the way, this will help create that also. As we quiet that anxious stress, the result is high levels of stable energy. After you've found that maintenance, after you've found that you're feeling better, you can come down to that maintenance dose that works well for you. One of the main questions that I get at this point is for people that say, hey, I'm struggling with stress that shows up as anxiousness and depression. Do I need to take 2 formulas? And the answer to that is in most cases, no. Most of the time, what's best to do is just take the one formula that is helping with the issues that are most dominant for you. So just take a moment and figure out if you're that type of person who's just really low. You may not want to even get out of bed or be around people. You might not even want to feel better today. If that's you, use Enjoy. If your issue is mostly your brain racing and spinning and you can't quiet down, use At Ease. That's going to be your predominant product. And then we do find that maybe 1 out of 10 people really struggle with both of these issues together. So there's a few of you that might want to use both formulas together at the same time. But for most individuals, choose the formula that is most dominant in the issues and the feelings that you're having on a daily basis. So this is an interesting slide. We have 5-HTP in the center. That's the amino acid we use in both Enjoy and at ease. As you can see, if you follow that to the right, it is the direct precursor to serotonin. Now, what's interesting is if you follow that down to the bottom left, you'll see that serotonin is the direct precursor to melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone that we produce when the lights go down, the sun goes down. It sets the body's clock and says, it's time to go to bed. This helps us understand why people with anxious stress and depressive stress don't sleep well at night, because both of them are deficient in serotonin, which means they're not producing a healthy amount of melatonin. Rather than giving you melatonin, which is a hormone, I would rather have you use 5-HTP, which is an amino acid to produce a healthy amount of serotonin. Now our brain starts to be healthy and happy again, and then we can produce that amount of melatonin that we each uniquely need. We also use 5-HTP in Addie's PM, which is our sleep formula. Now, if you're struggling with anxiety or depression and you also really struggle with sleep, I strongly encourage you, use Addie's PM also right out of the gate, because we want you to sleep better at night. The faster we can help you sleep better at night, the sooner you're going to have better days. And so we want to use this formula along with Addie's or Enjoy during the day. Works very well. It's easy to use. It's simply one capsule, half hour to an hour before bed. I'll tell you, you can also use this formula by itself if sleep is the only issue that you're struggling with. So no problem using it by itself, but it stacks nicely on top of the daytime formula. Now, in design, it's very similar to at ease. We use different amounts of all of these nutrients because we want different amounts at nighttime than we do during the day. And we've completely changed the herbs. Addie's PM uses a combination of California poppy, hops, and lemon balm. This blend of herbs does a wonderful job of quieting your mind and your body, helping you get in that deep sleep and stay there. And yes, we find it works really well even that first night. And as I said, it's simply one capsule, half hour to an hour before bedtime. All right, now let's talk about brain awakening. This is our formula for cognition. And I talk about it as cognition because most of the time with brain health, we're just thinking about focus and concentration and memory, but our brains are doing so much more than that. The process of cognition is also thinking and learning and judging and problem solving and being aware of our surroundings, the room that we're in. Our brains do so many different things throughout the day. So we want to design a formula that's going to work on the whole of cognition, and that's what Brain Awakening is designed to do. Now, one of the things that's important to understand is that our brains were at peak performance at about age 25. Now, that may not be great news for most of us, but it is in fact what happens. And then from there, our brains degrade a little bit over time as we age. Now, what's interesting is the part of the brain that's changing as we age is known as the synapse. They actually shrink as we age. So if I can give you an oversimplified vision of brain structure, we have a brain cell or a neuron connected by these wires known as synapse. So it's these wires that lose their density as we age. So it makes sense that as we get older and those wires lose some of their density, that we might be a little bit slower to think and learn and to recall and make some decisions. So the first thing that we want to focus on with Brain Awakening is focusing on the density to those synapses. And we can actually make a dramatic impact by using something as simple as magnesium. Now, it's not any form of magnesium because we do have something known as the blood-brain barrier, where our bodies protect our brain by not allowing many things to cross. So only nutrients in certain forms can cross that blood-brain barrier. That's definitely true of magnesium. So the form that we need to use for the brain is known as magnesium L-threonate. It's that threonate chelating agent that has the right keys, if you will, or the right ability to transport that magnesium into our brain. And we find that when we take magnesium L-threonate in a capsule version, within 6 hours of taking that into the body, we can trace those levels of magnesium up into our brain. And if we look at the bullet point on the bottom of the slide, this is the power of magnesium L-threonate. It has the ability to increase synaptic density. So this is a study that was done on individuals using magnesium L-threonate, which is a patented form of magnesium known as Magtein, and in only 2 weeks, we saw a 44% increase in the density to the synapse. Now, one of the other studies that was done on magnesium L-threonate is with a healthy group of 30-year-olds. And what we saw in that population group was a significant increase in short and long-term memory. Now, I would expect to get some good results like that as we get older, but to see significant improvement in short and long-term memory for a healthy young population group is really impressive. I can tell you that everybody that uses Brain Awakening is going to experience some results within that first bottle. We give you a full 30-day supply in a bottle of Brain Awakening. And you might say, well, what will I experience if I'm one of those younger or healthy brain folks? What you'll experience is better recall for names and numbers. That's what most people report. Now, for the rest of us that might be a little older or might really need some magnesium for our brain, we're going to feel even better results than that. So in addition to magnesium L-threonate, we have two other ingredients in Brain Awakening, starting with lion's mane. Lion's mane is a mushroom. It's a medicinal mushroom with a great history and lots of studies showing its ability for focus and concentration and memory. But one of the most powerful things about lion's mane is it has the ability to help with the health of that neuron, that brain cell itself. So as our neurons are created, and yes, every day we create new neurons in our brain, as they're created, lion's mane helps to make sure that the structure of that brain cell is healthy and normal, and that is essential for proper function. The last ingredient in Brain Awakening is amla. Amla is a potent antioxidant, but it's unique as antioxidants go. Most antioxidants go out into our body and they grab onto or quench a free radical. A free radical is something that creates damage to our cells. So antioxidants grab those free radicals, and once they grab onto one, they have to go back to our liver to get regenerated or recycled. And then they can go out in the body and grab one more free radical. Amla is unique. It's known as a cascading antioxidant, which gives it the ability to stay active in the body for long periods of time, quenching free radicals one after another after another. Somewhere along the way, it does need to go back to the liver for regeneration, but it stays active in the body for a long time. And there's great studies on amla's antioxidant ability to protect our body really throughout, but wonderful studies showing its ability to protect the brain against oxidative stress, damage, and plaque buildup. So we have lion's mane for the neuron, magnesium L-threonate for the synapse, and amla to protect that whole structure. Dosing on Brain Awakening is 2 capsules twice daily. You can take this with or without food, and you're going to experience results, as we said, within that first 30-day supply. Lastly, I want to talk about CraveStop. This is so important that we talk about the food that we eat, the cravings that we have, even especially under stress, because when we go through that stress response, that flood of hormones and chemicals that our body produces, one of the things that it does is it suppresses the feeling of satiation. So when we stress eat, we push right past that feeling of fullness, which is why we often overeat when we eat under stress. The other thing that happens to the body under stress is we have a very difficult time balancing blood sugar. So I love our summary for CraveStop here. We talk about it helping the brain and the body work together to tackle sugar cravings, and that's what we need to do in order to stop those cravings. So one of the things that we need to understand is the amount of sugar that we eat. This is a big part of our problem. On average, we consume 152 pounds of sugar in a year. Now, a healthy amount for us would be somewhere between 20 and 29 pounds in a year. So you can see that we significantly overeat sugar. And I think we all know this. It is so difficult to know all of the different forms of sugar in food. So we have to pay very special attention. So when we look at the blood sugar cycle, we should eat a meal and our blood sugar should come up, and over the course of a few hours, it should glide nicely down to baseline. This is what that cycle should look like. Now, for most of us, it looks like this. We eat a meal that's high in sugar or simple carbohydrates that causes our blood sugar to spike. Once our blood sugar spikes, our body then has to overproduce insulin to counteract that high blood sugar. Now, what happens with insulin is very effective against sugars and simple carbohydrates, and it doesn't know where baseline is. Insulin doesn't have an off switch. It works kind of like it's on a timer. So it pushes our blood sugar right past baseline into this place of low blood sugar or hypoglycemia. When we're here, we're out of balance, and our body has no ability to fix this problem on its own. So in low blood sugar, our body sends a signal to our brain that says, hey brain, blood sugar's low, I'm out of balance here. Do you think you can help? And our brain sends a signal back, absolutely, thanks body for letting me know. Hold tight, help is on the way. And our brain then tells us, go eat cookie and cake and candy and chips and whatever it is that you want. And if we don't listen, our brain, of course, gets louder and louder, and we start this cycle all over again. This is one of the most damaging things that we do to our body, and Crave Stop is designed to take this cycle and turn it back to the normal metabolic cycle. We start this process in Crave Stop by using a patented extract known as NC2, which is a powerful extract of seaweed. The first study that I saw in NC2 is this study where participants consumed NC2 30 minutes before eating white bread. So hardly a balanced meal, a bunch of simple carbohydrates. And what we saw in the very first dose was a 48% reduction in that blood sugar spike. Now, I will tell you, I've been in the natural food industry my entire life. I have never seen anything that works as well as NC2 to lower that blood sugar spike, and I've never seen anything work so quickly. But we want to do a follow-up study to make sure that this is not just a fluke. We want to make sure that we can repeat this process. So a follow-up study was done, and this time we saw a 39% reduction in that blood sugar spike, but we tested a few other markers as well. We tested insulin production, which went down 7%. Now, this is logical. If we don't have that blood sugar spike, we don't need to overproduce insulin. We also tested insulin sensitivity, which increased 5%. This is also logical because if I'm not overproducing insulin, my body can utilize what I do produce more effectively. So this is starting to show a wonderful story that we can actually bring normalcy back to that metabolic cycle. Now, I'm going to skip ahead to the most recent study that was done on NC2. There's a lot of studies done so far, and this is a study done on individuals that are pre-diabetics. It's a 6-month-long study. So here's what happens in the first 90 days, 3 months of the study. Look at the NC2 group here at the top. You'll see we have 4 individuals heading towards normal metabolic cycle, and actually one person has a completely normal metabolic cycle in only 3 months. Here's the placebo group. In that 3-month window, you'll see 2 individuals heading towards diabetes. Now, here's what we can tell you about folks with pre-diabetes. If you don't change something about the diet or the lifestyle, there is a strong likelihood that they are going to develop diabetes. And so in this study, the diet was absolutely standardized, no changes in diet, no changes in lifestyle or exercise. The only difference is whether the group got NC2 or placebo. So here's where the big change takes place. Watch this move in the NC2 group in 6 months. Look at that massive group of people heading towards normal, and we literally have 6 individuals now with a completely normal metabolic cycle. And here's the placebo group. We have 5 more individuals heading towards diabetes. It's further confirmation that this was a well-designed, well-controlled study. Now, we've got 3 more ingredients in Crave Stop that are essential, starting with Genema sylvestre, and this is the perfect combination to NC2. NC2 has most of its activity in what's known as the in phase of the metabolic cycle, which is in your gut. Genema sylvestre has most of its activity in the out phase of the metabolic cycle, which is in your bloodstream. So when we put NC2 and Genema sylvestre together, we do a better job of working through that entire metabolic cycle. And then we add chromium. We're using a patented form here known as Chrominex 3+. Chromium is essential for healthy blood sugar. What's unique about this form is that it is both highly absorbable and highly stable, and that's important for chromium. Chromium is a very unstable mineral, and we are able to stabilize it in its healthy chromium-3 state. The last ingredient in Crave Stop is American ginseng. Now, this is an adaptogen. This is so important in this product because using American ginseng is going to help your body so we don't suppress that feeling of satiation under stress. So when we eat, even under stress, using American ginseng, I'm going to feel full. I'm going to have that signal that tells me to stop eating, and that is so important. American ginseng is also going to help our bodies nourish the pancreas, and help to balance that metabolic cycle. It's the perfect adaptogen to use to round out this Crave Stop formula. Dosing on Crave Stop is simply 1 to 2 capsules 30 minutes before your 2 largest meals of the day. So here, prioritize your high carb meals. If you're using this formula for the first time, I encourage you to start with that higher dose. Do 2 capsules, half hour, an hour or so before your 2 largest meals, and know that it's going to go to work in your body right away at that very first dose, just like the studies show. And the longer we use Crave Stop over time, it's going to bring normalcy to that metabolic cycle, which is so important for any of us that are dealing with sugar cravings. Maybe we have a few extra pounds on us. Maybe we have problems with that metabolic cycle or some of the issues that can go along with that. Crave Stop will do a wonderful job at bringing all of that back to balance. Now, I like to end this time just by showing this slide. I know we've talked today about stress and some really difficult issues that many of us experience, and I don't want to minimize those feelings. So here at the end, I want to encourage you to smile at each other, to say kind words to one another. When we do that for somebody else, we change their life. We actually help them with the stress that they might be experiencing. And we have a second benefit that happens. Not only can we help somebody else, but when we do that for others, we feel better as well. So let's smile and say some kind words today. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, I just want to remind you that it is our goal at Red Remedies to help you feel better so you can live better.